Good Wednesday evening, everybody, and welcome to another broadcast from the American Ricci Mahjong League. We are all set up for the first broadcast post-Seattle Ricci Open 2024, and looking forward to a very exciting matchup with some strong contenders. Philip, Andrew, Barry, and Ryan will be duking it out tonight. Andrew in the starting dealer seat. To the right, Ryan. Across the table, Philip. And on the left, Barry. Looks like, I believe all four of these players are recent promotees from the B2 division into B1. So it's almost like a rematch of their previous rounds. However, looking at this series right now, Barry doing quite well in the first four games. Has an early lead of 126.0 after four. Philip, the next up on the list with a positive score, 7.9. Andrew slightly negative, minus 14.5. And Ryan following up with a minus 39.8. No one jumping too far away from zero and after an early four games in the season, outside of Barry, of course. And Andrew will do his best to catch up to Barry with early calls here in this hand. Double Tong, Chun call as well. And Ishanten with a single Dora held, likely be discarded once Tenpai is found, but of course, he's given himself the chance to pull in a pair for a Mangan. On the right, Ryan has been building towards a Pinfu type hand, 2 away from Tenpai currently. And again, a Dora that is currently sitting in a penchant, but ideally you'd pair that up for a really nice Ishanten. He'll cross the way. Struggling with the early hand here. Nothing much going on. Has just started discarding away some of these terminal tiles and honors. And we'll hope for some fortunate draws. And the left Barry's hand looks much better. More of a classic Pinfu type structure here. Can also open up for Tanyo as well. An interesting spot here from Andrew in the early portion of this hand. Whether or not to hold that 7-so. It is, of course, efficient to discard the 9-pin and hold a perfect Ishanten, allowing you to call pawn on either the 7-mon or the 7-so into Tenpai. However, we can see that Andrew wants to be a little bit greedy here and hold on to this Dora, trying to work towards that Mangan and 12,000 points. Ryan has chosen to discard away from the 8-9 penchant, starting with the 8, and of course immediately back first on the 7-pin. As is always the case, you draw the hell weight for your penchant after you choose to give up on the penchant. But Andrew has drawn into Tenpai, and it's very good weight, 2-5 mon. At least traditionally good weight. It looks like in this situation, 7 of the 8 winning tiles are being held. And the 7-8-9 pin keeps cursing Ryan here. Discards the 8-9, draws the 8 back. But now finally hits on the lower pin's shape. Only one tile on the wall for Andrew's weight. And we'll see how locked in these Manzu are for the other two players. Philip's 5-mon Anko is pretty much secure in hand. Question mark on the penchant, but we've hit the third row and the hand hasn't budged at all, so very likely that Philip will just bow out of this one. Barry hits Tenpai on the left for Tanyao, does not declare Ricci on 5-8 mon. Swaps over with the 8-so, and might be just concerned about dealing something dangerous into Andrew's hand. Oh, here's all for the 3-so Khan. Into Ricci after drawing, flipping the 6-pin to be Dora, and Andrew draws the Ipat's Dealin. Reach, Ipat's Tanyao Dora. It's going to be a Mangan barring Buddha, and there's one, but one isn't enough to upgrade the value. Still, Barry opens up with a Mangan strike. Andrew had been Tenpai for quite a while with a good hand, a good weight, good value. But randomness in the wall, Khan into a Dora, into drawing the wrong tile, and it will be Ryan taking up the dealer spot in East 2. Looks like he's willing to open up early with his 9-pin. The plan is Sanchoku. 7, 8, 9. And so that means Ryan will require a 7 mon and an 8 so. Andrew on the left actually quickly responds with an east call, aiming for east Dora 1 currently, sitting Ishan 10. That hand really needs a 6 mon. On the right, that's 4 pairs now for Philip. Chooses to drop away from the 9 mon. And is now Ishan 10 with a potentially very strong weight. Ooh, upgrade for Andrew, who had just hit Tempai. Now it's a 3-6 mon Tempai. And that 7 mon discard will allow Ryan to call into Ishantem. Philip, again, thinking about this Honitsu shift, it can be done. I had already chosen to discard the 9 mon, so that slightly weakens the opportunity to complete the hand with potential Furiten. Also passing up on the west could have called for Atosuke Tempai, but wants to wait a little bit longer, and now we'll have that same decision, chooses to let it pass a second time. This could be called into Tempai for Ryan, and he does choose to make that call, discarding the Dora. Philip finds Tempai. It is on the west. Haku Shabo chooses to decline the Richi here, as the west is dead. But I don't think he's... Ooh. 3 mon. Just has to come out. I really think about whether to reach it or not. Saves 1,000 points, I guess, by not reaching immediately. And we'll deal into 2,000. So Andrew picks up a couple thousand points. And we'll move to Philip's dealership here. Hypai says it wants to be a Richi. 8-pin is the door, and we can accept that in our hand. A couple penchants is a little bit weak here. Holding on to this east for as long as possible. On the right, Barry's hand also wants to be a Richi. Could potentially find Pinfu if a couple of these Kanchan shapes are filled in. Nice filled, by the way, for Philip. They're grabbing the 7 mon and finishing one of those Penchan shapes. Here's the Chun. Ryan passes that on the left. Passes the second one as well. Interesting. So choosing to stay closed here. Maybe using the Chun pair, the Red Dragons, as the pair in the hand, or even planning to discard them entirely in the future and aim for a Pinfu hand. Of course, we were just talking about looking at Andrew's hand. 3 pairs. Looks like it wants to be a Tanyao. 8-pin Dora, sort of hanging around that hand looking for a connector. Oh my, nice 5 so Anko, and this is a perfect Ishan 10 for Philip. Chooses to cut the 6-pin immediately. And this is because he really wants to use the Dora. And now, different perfect Ishan 10. Holding for the 2-5 pin, 3-pin 2 so as well. And of course, the 5-8 pin from before. A little bit of overlap on that shape, but that's okay. They're all very strong. And if Philip draws a 6 mon, even Tanya will be in the cards as well. Improvement for Ryan now. 8 so can come out. However, that does lose the 7 so acceptance, so he could also consider just preemptively cutting the Chun pair. As the Chuns are going to come out anyway here. Barry's hand has moved towards Itsu, 2 away from Tempai. And there are all the 7 pins in the wall, including the 7-pin door indicator. Another pair for Andrew. Still looks like it wants to be Tanyao, but this 8-pin's getting really hard to use and to discard given that we're this late in the round. You might want to consider playing for Chitoy now. Already into the 3rd row, and no one has declared a Richi. Ah, there's a 7-pin. That will help fix some of the issues for Andrew. 2 away from Tempai, likely to need to discard one of these pairs. Philip is wondering where all the pins are. All the 5 pins held. There'll be a call into Ishantan. And this late clone there makes a lot of sense. We can find a Tenpai, even if it's not Tanyao. Just being Tenpai at the end of the round has some value. Ooh, and sweet draw here for Ryan. Just working his way towards 3, 4, 5 Sanchoku. And that's a Tenpai. Philip again has to decide whether to reach or not. There's no Yaku here, but chooses to Dama anyway. Perhaps hoping for the 6-mon draw and shift into Tanyao. And speaking of Tanyao, Andrew will get confirmed Tanyao with the 6-pin. So Tenpai now waiting 2-5 so for Tanyao Dora 1.
Boom.
Barry in Tenpai, 8-pin comes out. That's not going to be a roam because there's no Yaku. And oh no, here's a 7. Philip has one more draw. 7 would deal into Barry's Itsu. Slams the Riichi now with a 7-pin. And that'll be Itsu Dora 1 for Barry. 2,000 points. Will extend his lead up to 40,000 points now. And he will claim the dealership in East 4. Haipai, wow, this looks just as strong as Andrew's Haipai in the opening round, although that didn't quite turn out for Andrew. We'll see if this works for Barry. Double tone in hand, Hatsu as well. One great shape in a pair, everything you could possibly want. Even has the door accepting 5, so floater to move off of this 7-9 Kanchan shape. So Barry looking quite strong here, even gets the double tone early to confirm the value. Andrew on the right can use a 6-so Dora. Reasonable shapes in his hand will just be playing very standard efficiency. Ooh, interesting spot here for Barry. Do we keep the efficient shape here, or do we hold for the Dora? And Barry likes the Dora play. I think I like it too. Ryan across the way has 4 pairs. No Dora just yet, but there is Dora acceptance, and actually chooses to drop away from one of those pairs, retaining the very efficient 7-8 diamond shape and an extra block in the 1-3 Mon. And on the left, Philip looking pretty strong here for Riichi Pinfu. Can find potentially Itsu is a little bit too tricky because you've got 2 complete sequences already in your hand. So just looking for a pair and finds a Dora. And speaking of Dora, Barry managed to pull in that 6-so and is feeling extremely rewarded for cutting away from that 5-mon. Philip as well improves with a tile around the Dora and just looking for a pair now. Has a great 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 shape that could end on a Nobiton at worst. Although Barry would love to call the Hatsu for Mangan Tenpai, I'm sure he's willing to call the 1 or 4 or even 2 Mon into a 3-Han Tenpai here, given his current lead. Not only in this game, but also in the standings. Doesn't need to be too greedy when there's free points to be had. Great shapes for Ryan. At this point, he's really just looking for some safety here. And uh-oh, second Dora. That's not a problem at all. We just cut the 5, so we've still got amazing shapes. We do want the Hatsu, though. Still is missing from the board, buried somewhere deep in the wall. Another pair here. That will come out. Called by Andrew. And now the 1-mon is starting to filter out of everyone's hands. It's a little bit trickier for Barry to find Tenpai. Philip holding Ishantan as well. And that will be a Tenpai. Again, deciding whether to reach or Dama. Double tone is very scary from the dealer. But we're going to see the Riichi as expected. Taking the fight head on. And Tenpai found for Barry. It is a Mangan waiting on 6-so and Hatsu. 6-so has 1 in the wall. Hatsu has 2. So 3 total for Barry. And Philip, on the other hand, 4 7-so is the weight. We're looking at 1 4-so and 1 7-so. So we've got a slight advantage for Barry in terms of number of tiles in the wall. both players will be pushing for sure. Ryan calls into Ishantem. And has a very safe Haku to cut upon reaching Tempai. If the 9-so doesn't fit into Andrew's hand, Ryan can call that into Tempai. Now it comes Chi. Oh, the last Dora goes to Philip, and that's going to be a deal-in for double tone Dora 3. It's 12,000 points for Barry, and his lead extends to 53,000 points. And opens up a very strong high pie in Continuance 1 here in East 4. Tanyao shapes 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku possibility, and the 6-0 is the Dora again. Barry's already completed the Dora shape with a 6, 7, 8. So on the right, that hand looks like it's going to be a little bit slow with a number of outside shapes. Could even turn into Chanto or Junchan potentially, but more likely to be a very standard Richi. Ryan across the table opens up with the Shun. Hasn't really had a say in this game. All the hands have ended up in deal-ins. But he's working towards cheap hand, unless it turns into Honitsu in the Monzu. There might be some draws that convince him to move that direction, but now that a Haku pair has been discarded, he'll probably just hold for the efficient 1,000 point hand. Philip on the left also playing for an efficient Richi Pinfu, hopefully. Really love to draw a 7-so. Or something that connects to this 6-mon floater. Given that 12,000 points has just been lost, Philip is going to be thinking about ways to greed some value into this hand. And 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku is certainly one way to do so. Here's the 8-mon. And that's a very clear signal about a potential direction for value. And Philip will move right in that direction with a 9-so cut. Barry has a very wide Ishantan here. Headless, so any number of pair draws will put him into Tempai. 4-mon, 7-mon, 7-pin. 6-pin. 3-pin, of course. And actually chooses to cut away from the 4-mon, holding the south. As Ryan finds Tempai across the way with a 3-so Anko. Oh, how about that? Just pair up the south. As if with perfect foresight, but chooses not to take the Richi here, waiting on just the 3-mon. Instead, it'll be a win for Ryan, picking up 1,000 points plus a buff. And that will send us into South 1. All right, a moment as Andrew ponders the high pie. Perhaps debating whether or not to aim for the 789 Sanchoku, and chooses against it. Cuts the 9-so immediately. Could have held out a little bit longer with something like the south cut, or even 7-mon cut. Especially given there is a route towards Chanta's Junchan as well. But instead plays out the So tiles. On the right, Ryan has Anko of West. A pair of Chun, pair of 4-so, pair of 2-pin, pair of 4-mon. And that is Chitoi Ishanten with potential for a lot more. With all these pairs in hand, no wonder he dropped away from the 2-mon, although there's the immediate 3-mon backfire. In fact, it's going to be a Toy dash, it looks like. 5-pin, presumably, leaving the hand. Across the way, Philip with a Dora and a Dora accepting shape. And potentially moving towards Tanya, although it looks like it'll most likely end up with a Richi. And on the left, Barry, who has been in control of this game, has an Itsu high pie, Itsu in the Sozu. Going for that straight potentially. And a nice efficient shape in the Monzu. Good floating 4-pin as well.
Boom.
Andrew's hand has improved steadily, Ishanten now. But after a second call, Ryan will get there first. Toi Toi, Yakuhai is the Tempai. And loads of fu in hand as well. Will be 5,200 points. Two-pin Forso is not very live in the wall. Just one 2-pin. But there are some chances that we might see these tiles come out. Barry draws it, and that connects to the 4-pin, so that's currently held in hand. However, a 5-pin upgrade for both Barry and Andrew will likely lead to the... could lead to the 2-pin coming out. It's more likely for Barry than it is for Andrew. If Andrew recognizes that the 5-pin is Genbutsu, we'll call into Tempa here, dropping the Dora, and it's an 8-mon 5-so weight for just Tanya only. 1,500 points here. Unless it's a Tsumo. We can upgrade a little bit. For this weight, 8-mon is actually completely live in the wall, and there is 1 5-so. That means Andrew's got a bit of an advantage here. Could find the Tsumo. Waiting game for these two players, both with vertical hands, triplet-based hands. Philip has been working around this, still holding 2-4-so shape.
Kang.
Oh, Khan reveals the 1-mon to be Dora. It doesn't help anyone in this game. But that adds some extra fu. And makes Richi's more potent. Speaking of Richi's, we might see one here for Barry, and he will just slam it 2-5-8-so, where 2-so gives Sanshoku. It's Richi, Tanyao, Pinhu, potential Sanshoku, and loads of Ura to boot. What a scary hand. Philip probably just wants to get out of here with these current shapes. 9-pin will be cut. 7-pin is Genbutsu. Ryan broke Tempai immediately. The So tiles look terrible. And he will be bailing here. Only Andrew the dealer still in this fight. There are 2 8-so in the wall. And I believe 1 5-so. 3 tiles. And there it is, the 8-so. It's not Takame, but still. Richi, Tsumo, Pinhu, Tanyao. Ura would be Mangan, and hits, of course, with that many indicators. Barry cannot be stopped. Everyone got... There were 2 players Tempai before Barry got there, but Saman-chan did end up winning in the end. Ryan, now in the dealer seat in South 2. Very interesting Hypai. Hatsu is the Dora, Chun pair in hand. Ryan might think about moving towards either Honitsu or Chanta. 3-mon still leaves things up in the air. We might see a 5-pin cut. And we'll make that decision later. Khan, Philip says, all right, it's time for me to make some points here. That's double south, Khan, and 32 fu. His hand is moving towards a... Well, it could be a couple of things. If the Hatsu's drawn, we're looking at Chantador too. I think he might just cut 3-mon here and aim for that Dabunan Chantador 2 Mangan. Two and 60 hand for Philip. Not enough for him. Wants more. And understandable given the current placement. Ryan could have called that 2-mon and pressed for a Honitsu, but stays away, and now the Hatsu question mark. As it would deal into Philip. There are 2 in the wall for this weight as well. The hand almost looks like Honitsu, but the 6-pin has been cut already over the 3-mon, so that means it's very unlikely to be Honitsu. Chanta is much more likely. Oh, and this is Tempai for Ryan, but he has to drop the door. Will he take it? Of course, he says no. Ryan, I've watched him play quite a bit, and he is a fairly defensive player. Recognizes when the tile that's too dangerous to cut, and a 3 call player who's looking like Chanta. You definitely don't want to drop door against that. So potential Dora Tanki for Ryan in the future. We also see Andrew calling into Tempai, waiting on the 6 mon for Pei Dora 1. He has one of the newly revealed 7-so Doras. It's just a waiting game for the Hatsu. Where are the Green Dragons? Oh, 6 mon comes out. That is safe to the open hand, but not safe to Andrews, and that will be 2,000 points from Barry. Honestly, Barry probably pretty happy about that. Shut down a Mungon and advances the game closer to South 4. Philip now in the dealer's seat looking for something to do with his hand. Has a Dora, couple good shapes, but has a lot of work to do. The fortunate thing is when your hand is not very good, that means your draws are almost certainly going to be better than the tiles you have in your hand. So 9 mon, that's an improvement that can work you towards 789 Sanchoku. On the right, Barry, another hand that looks like it's got some slow progress to make. We'll see how the early draws affect his play. With this lead, though, he can afford to fold if someone else finds Tempai first. Across the way, Andrew probably working towards a Richi, could be Richi Pinfu. And there's a door in a hand waiting to find a connector. On the left, Ryan, that two-pin draw gives 2-3-4 Sanchoku possibilities, but West Anko in hand, this is already 2 Shantem. And wow, great 3-so fill. So we can cut away from the 3 mon and hold the 2-4-6 Diankan, and Sanchoku still in the cards. Philip now 3 pairs, so we have to make a decision and decides just go ahead and cut away from that mon tile. An interesting idea is to 6 mon, followed by another 6 mon in the future. Try to set up some kabe for your 7-so, or 7 mon rather. Just in case you get to Tempai close, although it looks like Philip at this point is probably willing to open on anything that Ryan can give him. Unfortunately for Philip, just nothing coming out. Nothing that would speed up the hand, that is. Interesting chance for Sanchoku across the way. Andrew is actually Ishantan. This floating Dora. 1 mon and 1-so required. Barry has completed the journey, has found Tempai. No reach yet because it's just waiting on the 2 mon, and there are so many improvements to be drawn. Tanyao, Pinfu, lots of ways to improve this hand. And that 8-so is great for Philip. Cuts away from the 5-3. It has a lot of faith in this pay. However, that is locked up in Andrew's hand. Now, if the reach is taken by Philip, it'd be quite surprising for the pay to the deal in. You might see it come out. And this 1 mon is Chanta opportunity, and out comes the 6 mon. Barry finds the improvement, but Dama's 2-5-so for Tanyao Pinfu. Barry can still improve the 8 mon Dora draw, and he has no need to reach here. He's already got a huge lead. Andrew will open up on the 1-so. It is a 1 mon Tempai for Sanchoku Nobi. The Dora did come out and passed smoothly. This 4-so, or 4 mon rather, will not deal in. No Yaku on the 4 mon. Ooh, this is called into Tempai, and it's a 3-pin wait. But Philip draws the 5-so, and that will have to come out and deal into Barry for Pinfu Tanyao 2,000 points. And that will end Philip's best chance at making a comeback. However, there still is all last. The gap to 3rd place is 11,700, which is a little bit more than Mangan Sumo for Philip. But he's aiming for Haneman, or enough points to make it worthwhile to win. However, Barry has other ideas. Early Chun call Dora in hand, and we'll aim for 1,500 to 2,900 points. On the right, Andrew, pretty decent shapes, draws another Dora. We'll be aiming for Ricci, maybe Ricci Pinfu. Right across the table. Can't call the East for Yaku. Could consider Honitsu, but these shapes look more like they want to be Pinfu. And that 3 still all but confirms that plan. Up on the left. If you're going for Hanuman, Chitoi is one way to do that. But we'll need to draw a couple more pairs. Barry, in the meantime, has pulled in one of the more difficult tiles, that Dora Indicator Force, so it's been cheated. And we have an Ishantam. Interesting choice here. I don't think Barry wants to end up on the 3-pin, 4-pin Shabo, so we'll preemptively cut the 4-mon with potential Suji later on. Redraws a Dora and says, I have no need for that at this point. Oh, the 6-0 the immediate follow-up draw. It's unlucky. Second Dora would dramatically improve the value of this hand, but Barry does find Tempai. Holding onto that 1 pin does pay off, and now it is a 7-mon Tempai for 2,900 points worth, or 1,000 all on Sumo. 7-mon has 2 in the wall, and the 2 that are being held are currently pretty tightly contained. Oh, paired though by Andrew. And now there's a question mark as to whether Andrew deals in or not. An 8-mon draw, and it's very likely that Andrew will cut away from that 7-mon. Another pair for Philip. Currently Ishanten for Ricci Chitoi. Could this be Dion Peiko Dreams for Ryan? He is approaching that territory, still 2 away for that, and instead the last 7-mon will come into Barry's hand for the 1,000 all. One more Homba, and we're staying right here in South 4. Barry refuses to let this table go before he's siphoned as many points as he can. This Haipai looks like it wants to be a Ricci, maybe 2-3-4 Sanshoku. You can open for that. Could also turn into Tanya depending on the draws. 1 Dora Haku in hand. White Dragon is immediately paired up, and Barry is looking strong in this one. On the right, Andrew also doing pretty well there. Could be a Ricci for him. Fairly efficient shapes here. Could even call for Tanya if he so chose. Barry now completing 1 more shape. So, Dion Janten. Ryan draws the Dora. And very typical of Ryan to hold on to the Dora here. Oftentimes plays to just deny value for other players. There's a Hatsu pair. May choose to open up and aim for Dora-tanki. And Philip on the left. No Dora. No real value here outside of Tanyao. So maybe Ricci Tanyao. There are 3 pairs. You can think about Chitoi. Of course, not going to open up on the 2-pin because that does not give enough value. Barry now Ishanten with the 8-mon draw. This hand keeps progressing smoothly.
Home.
Still looking for that Haku.
Home.
It's going to be a while before we see Ryan drop it, as he is now 1 step closer to Tempai. Dion Shantem. We saw Andrew open up on the right, aiming for just the Tanyao hand, and he is currently Ishantem. Another pair for Philip. Pair could mean Chitoi, but it could also just mean Ipeiko. And that seems like a Great plan for value. Can hedge both. Barry, in the meantime, still
Boom.
Ishanten looking for a 3-mon, 2-mon, or Haku. 9-mon as well would do it. But in the meantime, Andrew will find Tempai on 7-pin 8-so Shabo. And
Sumo.
finds the 8-so Sumo for Tanyo only. 300, 500 plus Homba. Means that this game will end with a third place for Andrew. Could not build a hand with enough value to overtake Ryan for second place. However, it does prevent Philip from catching up. Philip will take the fourth place in this one after the unfortunate draw of the final Dora. Well, in Ricci, Ryan will take second place in this one, minus 2.1. Avoided dealing into anything. Also, didn't really manage to win that much because Barry was in control this entire game, plus 53.4, the only player above 30,000. And he will only extend his lead in the B1 standings up to 179.4 after 5 games. That's the ending mark for some divisions after the entire season has completed. And Barry's gotten there with 3 firsts and 2 seconds. And their series is not done yet. They will be starting in just a few seconds. And so we'll pull up the full screens and pause for just a minute. When I come back, we will have game number 2. All right, we are back for game number 2 of this B1 series. Things going Barry's way in the first one. They've already opened up the tiles for the second. Barry in East Heat with the door with reasonable shapes as well. Nice Nakabukude in the Monzu and improves immediately towards an Ipeko. Will be very interesting to see how he handles this Dora 5-so. Give up on the overlapping Kanchan shape, the shape that overlaps with the 3-4 Diamen. And hold the Kanchan in the Monzu instead, one that doesn't overlap, as well as the Dora. On the right, Andrew's hand looks like it's a mess. Could this be a Kokushi? Might not have time because Ryan has just called twice for Tanya Dora 3. Ishantem. And that raises the eyebrows of everyone at the table. Philip was aiming for Sohonitsu, but might have to build a little bit more cautiously now that player is revealed to have at least a Mangan.
Each.
Barry is not going to wait, although he's got Teppai, Ricci, Pinfu waiting 2-5 pin.
Chi.
And he will press forward against this open hand, who is now a slightly stronger Ishanten from Ryan. Philip will draw the 5 pin though, and that does deal into Ricci Pinfu. Check the Uda, see if this is 2900 or 58 will just be 29. Barry starting off strong once again. Nice. Decent shapes here. Good floating Dora. Likely going to cut away from 1 or even 2 of these pinch on the future. However, this 1-so draw means that we can actually move towards 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku if we want. And no guarantee that that will actually be our play, because if we draw the Dora, it's very likely we'll want to shift away from one of these awkward terminal shapes. And, oh, hey, it looks like maybe you joined in the broadcast booth.
Yes, do you mind if I join in?
Oh, not at all. Happy to have you, Michael.
All right. Let's need to catch a screen share real quick.
Absolutely. Let me pull that up for you. We had a really exciting game one where Barry was in absolute control, and we'll see
I did
how.
catch some of that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we were just going around those hands. Barry's was improving pretty decently. Andrews was looking like a almost Pinfu, except we have the South as our pair currently. So maybe just a Ricci Dora one. Across the way, Ryan, possible Honitsu, possibly we just cut away from the upper and lower penchants in the Suzuko for
Chi.
like Tanyao Dora. And on the left, Philip, another Honitsu play, this time in the Pinsu.
Normally that Pinzu Honitsu looks pretty strong, but I think Barry's Tanya Dora one looks like it would probably be faster, though headless currently.
And of course, Barry opens this hand already, so that means he has the ability to speed towards Tempai with calls.
Yeah. Probably won't get Pinzu from Philip, but shouldn't have an issue getting the other tiles he needs, most likely. I really just don't. Well, where is... So Philip is Ishan 10 now, so actually maybe he has a chance.
Ishunten, a great place to be. The shapes,
And
though, might be a little bit hard to find.
yeah, very likely to end up on that 8 pin Kanchan there, and that's almost dead now with Andrew having just cut a second one.
Barry, also a pretty good Ishunten here, and the tiles he needs are in the suits that Philip does not, so can basically has two drawing
Beach.
pools. We will see the Ricci from Philip. It is Ricci Honitsu waiting
5
on
8.
yeah, 5-8 pin. Ooh, and immediately drawn by Andrew, but he knows what the dangerous suit is, so that's not coming out.
Right.
That means there's only one tile on the wall for this weight.
Near miss.
Tempai for Barry now. It's 5-8 so, and the one pin can't come out because it's Suji to the 4.
Yeah, what a fortuitous um, drop from Barry's perspective.
Yeah, and even feeling comfortable enough to jam the 2 pin. With 3 4s visible, it's
I
one
guess,
chance.
yeah, one chance, right?
And the final winner for Philip is drawn by Andrew, and so
The two should, yeah, that should.
Beach.
that's even Tempai for Andrew,
Jump.
but the 8 will come out instead. And Barry continues to move forward in this game.
A
Taking
bit
Ricci
frustrating
stick,
for Philip
29.
with
Yeah.
a hand like that.
And all the other players too found Tempai as well. Everyone got there in the end. But Barry's the only player who can win so far. What do you make
Right.
of the high pie in this one?
I guess it's actually fairly strong aside from the penchant. That Dora is pretty, with the 3-5, pretty usable. I think this just looks pretty standard once you cut these honors out.
Yeah, Andrew on the right, also fairly standard, hoping for the penchant fill. And there's a door shape, so that could lead to some value. Across the way, Ryan, another hand that looks very normal, aiming for Ricci, needs to fill out one more shape and hopefully get an improvement on this 7-9 Kanchan. And Philip on the left. Ricci
I
Pinfu,
was
hopefully.
just about to say there was maybe a Sanchoku chance for Philip, like 6, 7, 8 or something, but the so shape isn't there.
Yeah, and ooh, that's a nice little fill. Perhaps the value's in Itsu.
It could be that the 7 feels like a hedge towards that in some way.
Yeah, because currently we're missing a block, so we're floating the 6 mon, the 8 mon, and the 7 so to finish that block. Well, we found it. We found a pair in the 8 pin, which
Chi.
makes a 6-8-8 our block. So Philip will drop away from the Itsu chance and just take this slightly better Ishantan. He wants this. He wants this because it can accept the Dora. However, all the 1 mons are discarded. So even if you drew a Dora, the 2-3 Diamond is not even that strong. It's essentially a penchant. In the meantime, Barry has identified that the path forward in this hand is Tanyao, and so we'll play in that direction. Interesting here, choosing to discard the Tuso instead of the Hatsu. He wants to hold a safe tile, and he's planning to Tanki on the Dora if he has to.
Chi.
This is a clever chi.
Yes, it's saying like I'm going to use this Dora. Like if it ends up Tonki, fine, but it doesn't have to.
And look at this.
Oh,
As a result of the chi, draws a pair of Dora, and now has perfect Ishantan for Tanyao Dora too. Great play from Barry. Just taking a quick peek at these other hands. See if they made much progress. Andrew's stuck on these mon shapes. Ryan could consider Yupeiko. Let's it go. Really
Ich.
wants a Dora. And Philip draws an Uncle of the 8-mon. Will slam the Ricci. 3-sided. Well, is it finally time for someone other than Barry to win a hand? Oh, there's a Dora, but he dropped away from the perfect Ishanten. Not only cut the 2-pit, so it can't call it for Tempai. Instead, lets it pass and draws the 9-pin.
you just have to let it go.
Dom.
We're dealing Ricci Nomi.
Well, it was going to happen at some point, but it is cheap, so
Yeah, did find the Yasume tile. And that means we are finally moving into East 2. Andrew in the dealer seat.
I feel like Barry is doing something that I've been struggling with lately, which is like realizing that in Akanashi, if you know where the door are, you can just be like, well, that's probably cheap enough.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Akanashi definitely has that little element of knowing who's got the value most of the time. The only real trick is Ura, something that's a little bit more tricky with red 5s. Because you could have all the Dora, and they could have all the red 5s and have just as much value as you.
Right. This hand is a bit awkward here with you've got 4 pairs in this hand, but it's just a little strange.
Yeah, one of those even become an Anko. And this might be a signal for Andrew to start moving in a vertical direction towards triplets. We'll just play everything efficiently for now. But depending on the draws, we might even see the 1-mon, 3-mon come out.
Ich.
Oh my goodness, Philip, what is this? Tempai slams a Ricci for Chi
We
Toy
didn't even
Dora
make it
2.
over there yet.
Yeah. And here's that uncle for Andrew.
That Philip's pawn looks really suspect, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if people will even like fold out with this tile here if it's not trapped.
Currently, one's cut, one's held, and one in the wall. The question is like, is there a better tile for this Ricci? Once it's Chi Toy, once your pawn looks like Chi Toy, even honors are pretty suspect
Right.
as well. Oh, but Andrew draws the one,
This
so
doesn't really fit
he doesn't really
at
have something good
all.
to bail with either. Okay, 8 pin.
Sotagawa, at least, if you didn't, if
1
it's not Chitoi.
Oh my, and Ryan's gonna chase here. Dora comes out. 1-4 so Andrew's in trouble. That could be a double roan. However, the 5 so is the reaching tile. Might give Andrew some suspicion that the 1's not so good. In the meantime, Barry has this 1 so. Well, he could see 3 of the 2 so's.
Yeah. It's like I think Barry's probably making the right read
つも
here.
Oh, and Ryan finds the Tsumo. Reach Tsumo. No Ura. That shuts down the hand from Philip. Chitoi Dora 2. Would have been a Mongun. Ryan claims the points and the Ricci sticks with the wider weight. Oops, I think I've no, we're good. We're good. Oh my. I think I just saw Philip discard twice.
Uh
we
yes, that's what it looks like.
we've definitely got that visual bug. So we could refresh. We could refresh the page and see everything in its actual state, or we could keep watching it the way it looks right now.
It, is that the right number of tiles? Did it fix itself?
Yeah, I drew the 6 mon. It didn't organize it properly, and then upon drawing the next tile, put them both into hand. We do have the right number of tiles, though.
Yeah, I think it did fix itself. Okay.
This is very exciting.
Boom.
I wonder what Philip's hand actually is. It's Honitsu. Yakuhai Honitsu is a Mongon, even though it's not in the Dora suit. Barry's hand looks like it should be good across the way, and checking the actual tiles themselves, yeah, it's good. Could even be Sananko. Could even be Suanko. But Phil will take Tempai here. Just choosing which weight to take. Goes with the 7 mon. Now this is the weight that is trapped,
1
but not necessarily
This is a
upgradable.
trap that I don't think is the most effective. I feel like Kanchan weights are quite common in these open Honitsu hands.
Yeah, now the alternative is that you cut the 8 mon and wait on the 5 mon, which feels like it'll have a harder time coming out. Khan?
What do you feel about the 1?
The 1 also has similar issues with upgrading, but you don't get the trap. Now, if you think cutting the 4 mon and setting that Suji trap actually makes it less likely that the 7 comes out, say if you expect the players to read it as a 4-6-8 shape, then maybe you cut the 1 mon and just say, you could give the impression that, you're not Tempai yet. Even though you had overflow, you didn't have good tile overflow. It's just like a 1 mon that could have been floating in your hand.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Phil can't switch to the Shabo because Haku is dead.
Yeah, so that doesn't really help here. Just relying on the 7 mon. Which, okay, also something to consider here. The tiles that we see in his hand might not actually be the tiles that he has, given that there was that visual glitch from earlier. Because, for example, we can't see the 7 mon lighting up here.
Oh, that's true. the drawbacks of not refreshing.
I forgot about this part of it. The question is Philip really Tempai?
Sumo.
It is! Sumo!
It is, okay.
Hatsu Honitsu is a Mongon, and that is a bit of good news for Philip, who jumps into the lead here, moving into his dealership in East 4. Hypai is pretty decent. The only awkward shape here is that Kanchan in the lower Manzu. And everything is upgradable. We could even draw a 3 mon for 3 pin rather for 2-4 Sanchoku. Instead, just moves 1 step closer to Tempai on the right. Could be 1-2-3 Sanchoku. And that is actually Ishotan. After turn 4, wow. Sanchoku Dora 2. Now also could just open up with the non as well. And actually, if the non were to come out right now, would you call it if you're Barry?
I think so. I hmm. I think I'm okay with non-Dora 1, though I mean obviously that does cheapen the hand significantly.
Yeah. However, it is a fast tempi, and one of the Souths has already come out, so if you pass the next one, you are definitely not getting that opportunity again. And Barry did intentionally pass the first South, so he also he wanted to hold out for the second one at least, which I think is
Wrong
early enough
too.
to make that decision.
Yeah, I think I would have done the same thing. Like I'm not ready. Like I want to give this hand a chance to come together by itself. I know that some strategy like books and stuff say to not skip
Home.
Yakuhai pawns, but I think in this case it it's sensible.
Yeah, we've got a really interesting situation
Home.
for Toyman, who is Ishanten, perfect Ishanten for Pin Food or two, maybe Tanyao. Could reach E as well, given the right draw. But has two Dora, and really would prefer to open up on it. Right on the left opens up for Tanyao, waiting on the door itself. And so Philip.
It wasn't waiting on the door when it was called though.
That's right, it was on the 5 mod, switched to the door with the 4 mod cut.
That I'm not sure I love that open.
Yeah, I guess the alternative was to wait a while and move towards an Entotsu way.
That's what I would have been inclined to do.
Well, it looks like in this moment, 7 mon deals into 2 players as Philip finds door Tonki Tenpai. I very much doubt he's going to get off of that weight.
No, I think he's going to be forced to play around it. Like, you know, if you can hook another tile up to that, drops the 6 pin.
That's right. And really, the only tile that you'd expect to do that is with the 6 mod draw.
The 6, yeah.
Ooh, this is interesting for Ryan. Yeah, decides just to stick with the doorway. Doesn't want to drop anything around the Dora
Mm-hmm.
because that might deal into
Home.
Philip.
And this late in the round, switching to the Tonki, like doing that kind of maneuver, I don't think is advantageous.
Barry does make a call into Tenpai. Will win 1,000 points as a result. As the hand goes into Ryukyoku, Philip maintains the dealership though because he was also Tenpai, of course. And we'll see another round. Saipai, I'm not very happy to see this one. How about you?
This is my typical dealer high pie. So no, I'm not happy to see it if I'm Philip.
Quick note of apology to the viewers. It looks like the frames are dropping on my end, so hopefully we can get that fixed pretty soon. This is a call already Tenpai. So Ryan opens up, but the Tenpai I think is Toyman, right?
It's gonna be the Tenpai is yes, the 3-6 is across the way.
So Andrew's not declaring this Richie because he wants Ipeko or Dianpeko?
I'm not sure. I think just doesn't want Richie pin. I think I would just hit the button here. I'm not like confident that I'm going to draw the upgrade I want in any reasonable amount of time.
Oh, but Barry draws the sumo opened up as well. Santoku in addition to the Tanyao. And that will claim the dealership back. Or not only the dealership, but the lead. And so I will go ahead and let you take over on this one, Michael, while I take a second to see if I can resolve the frames issue.
All right, so Barry is now our dealer. Has a decent one completed block in the so plus another, or in the pin plus another decent shape. Some okay possibilities in Manzu, and then holding on to the single Dora just in case for the time being. Andrew on the right has a penchant up in the so, and then the 258 in the mon, which is a little awkward. Needs a little bit of work. May end up reaching Nomi. Across the way, Ryan has the Yakuhai Dora pair and a bunch of other pairs as well. Probably will. I think the interesting thing will be to see if Ryan calls Atazuke on this hand, but if he's a careful player, may choose not to. On the left, Philip has a pair of the Pei, which is his wind, and holding a Dora and a bunch of So tiles.
Boom.
Those they're all right. So it looks like Philip, I was just going to say, will probably take this
Boom.
hand Honitsu. Though is now a little bit spooked probably by Ryan's call of the
1
Haku. Well, I was just about to say of the open manga on there, but Barry is confident in this the 6-9 pin weight, which is fair enough. I mean, this on turn like I think this is turn 7 or 8. This is a pretty strong Ricci. Probably banking on Ryan not being Tenpai yet. And also probably will just banking on him pushing for this open Mangan. So we'll see how that turns out. It will just be Ricci Pinfu, but that is definitely okay from Barry's perspective. 2,900 and a repeat is definitely not bad with a chance at Urda or Sumo.
And I wonder if Barry also, just having played Ryan in the past, knows that Ryan doesn't really like to fight against Ricci if he can avoid it, and might in fact choose to bail against this.
He certainly looks like he's playing around it a little bit. The 3 pin isn't safe, but it looks like Ryan's a bit scared about the so, because especially the stuff right around the Ricci tile there.
Right, has been avoiding dropping this 6-0 for quite a while.
May drop the 8 pin because it is one chance. Oh, that feels dangerous.
4 and 5 are both safe, but the 9 comes out.
The 1 chance 9, yeah.
So it is Ricci Pinfu for the 2900.
Not too horrible, really.
Yeah, the race between Barry and Philip heating up here. Similarly, Ryan and Andrew close.
Oh, yeah. This hand looks... I mean, 7-8-9 is a possibility, but that also eats up the head. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it really feels like there should be a Santoku here. Just isn't immediately apparent.
That 9 cut feels like maybe not a commit, but like it's Tanyao.
Yeah, it's definitely a shift towards Tanyao, and Barry now has the Sanchoku. It's the 3-4-5.
I just picked out the wrong Sanchoku. Okay.
Oh. Of course, it wasn't there to begin with. He just drew into it And playing for Tanyao does oftentimes allow that to happen, right? You just hold good middle tiles and draw more of them.
I wouldn't know what that feels like. So
1
Yeah, Barry just opening up here. Okay, ignore Sanchoku. It's just going to be Tanyao and a repeat. West of the door, and Andrew has a pair on the right. Will be hard to open up with this hand unless the plan is 22.
I'm gonna be honest. If I were the way I play, if I were Ryan and Philip, I would have been yeeting that west way before this point.
Hmm.
I don't want to. I'm not confident I'm gonna draw it. I don't want to like end up dealing it into a Shabo or a Tonki, but
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see them having to play around it if Andrew manages to reach this hand.
right. Barry does find Tempai after trying 6-0 on the 4 pin for Tanyao only. Philip at least is trying to use it for Honitsu.
I guess that's a good reason to keep it.
But he could just find Tempai on the next draw and reach you with it. Ooh, do we switch to Shabo? No, Barry says, I think Pinzu are coming out, and I still have plenty of upgrade tiles. Well, I guess 6 pin. And the Jamin upgrade in the Monzu ended up being Furitan.
40-10, yep. Not much regret there.
Yeah. 4 pin 2 in the wall, 2 in Ryan's hand.
Andrew trying to shift this to a Honitsu, which would allow a Dorapon.
Yeah, has drawn pretty well in the Monzu. Had a lot of calls available. 3 Mon, 7 Mon, 9 Mon, Shaw.
I imagine that, yep, that's, I was going to say either, I think there will be a snap pone of 7-9 or the especially the Dora here.
There's that 6 Mon upgrade Barry was looking for. Now it's a 4-7 weight.
Home.
So calls Yakuhai moves 1 step closer to
1
Honitsu. Andrew, though, does find the 3 Mon, and that is Tempai. Honitsu, Dora 2. Waiting 7 Mon and Shaw. Tempai found, and Philip will be waiting on the Shaw as well. Ryan has the potential to deal a double Roan, but is almost certainly folding.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Well, he is Ishantet, but against 2 Honitsu hands, you don't expect that shot to come out ever. And instead, it will be Barry picking up the points again. Has an extension of the lead here, over 40,000 points now. And Sci-Fi is weird. It's not super efficient. Very trying to see what can happen by dropping these early terminal tiles, not even cutting the honors because there could be Honitsu here. Now that we're drawing middle Pinzu tiles, out come those honors. Still only for the Yakuhai pair up. On the right, there's a door shape and okay shapes elsewhere. Not amazing, but they can be improved for sure. Across the table, those are some pretty strong ones. 2 completed sequences already. The floating tiles aren't that great, but there's a completed door shape. And Philip on the left is also in one of those weird slow hand. Interesting Chi of the 8 so. Is this an early Honitsu commit?
That's certainly what it looks like, though I don't like it.
Well, actually doesn't choose to call the 9 so. And the Chi happened so quickly, it is possible that it was just an accidental tap on the screen. I know that I do that quite frequently.
I think yeah, well, whatever the plan was, it is Honitsu now.
Yeah, that's true. And Barry matches the speed, so it's only going to be Tanya for Barry.
Well, that draw helps.
Yeah, that will also get buried into Tempai though. Just
7
deciding whether to go 4-5-6 or 6-7-8G. Decides to call with the central tiles, leaving the more terminal tiles in hand just in case he needs to fold later. Philip has somehow managed to get on this pipeline of so draws.
Getting bailed out a little bit.
In theory, this could even be Chinitsu.
What do you think about Ryan dropping that Ryeonmin joint to work in the Dora Ipeco there?
This was before the second Tumon came out, so I think it was probably okay. But now the second Tumon has come out, it's very awkward.
Yeah, like I get what was going
Oh
on
wait,
there, but
there was a Tumon in the call. Yeah, I think that was a little awkward then. Because maybe there's a world where we cut the pay later on
홈
and use the Dora that way. I don't mind holding the Dora, but I think just cutting the 3mon first is fine. And then
Philip
maybe the Dora later.
managing to find Sanmin-chan after that scramble.
Yeah, it is two only, but 1-4-7-8 is very wide. Is this where Barry gets out? Are we getting off the train? No.
롱
Well, we're getting off the train in a different way. 2,600, including Homba, going back to Philip, and
I think that's honestly a fair push against what you read as Honitsu only.
yeah, it's open. It's not in the Dora suit. I believe the Yakuhai honors were cut. So the only one that was remaining was the non-Yakuhai honors. Now, if it's Chinitsu, it's very bad. But if you believe that there's a non-Yakuhai honor in hand, it's just 2,000 plus Homba. And even if there's a Yakuhai, it's still 39, so it's not too bad.
Right.
All right, Andrew's dealership in South 2. There's a door in hand, Pinfu type shapes.
Yeah, this just looks like a Pinfu hand. Well, if that 1-3 can be taken care of.
Reasonable shapes for Ryan. On the right, 2 pairs though, and the Dora shape is a Kanchan.
Actually, 4 pairs in that hand.
Oh, you're right. Huh.
The 4-5-5, I mean, you can count as it's not really like a pair, but I mean, you could if you draw into a 5th pair, you're having to make decisions, I suppose.
No, absolutely. And well, draw to an Anko.
Well, Chitoy avoided.
I like the way you make it sound like it was a crisis avoided.
1
Oh my goodness, what is this? Sanshoku
Chi.
Richi? Waiting on
That
the
came
Chuso.
together quickly.
Richi Sanshoku
And
is 52.
Sotogawa.
Oh
Chuso.
yeah, with the early 3-so cut. Now Suji trapped all this 2-so.
Oh geez.
It looks so
that's
good.
dangerous.
But on the other hand, Barry has just found Tempai and is jamming against this with Tanya Dora 1.
Sumo.
There's the Sumo. So Philip will find a Mangan.
Big win for Philip.
Yeah, and looks like he's over 40,000. The gap now extended to 8,300 over second place. We'll see if he can hang on to that lead as we are in East 3, Ryan's dealership. And in this battle between Andrew and Ryan, Andrew is the one who took the Oyakaburi there.
Right. Yeah, that hurts a bit. This, I don't know if I'd call this hand dire, but it's not great.
Yeah, it's one of those hands where you're thinking, well, at least most of my draws should be better than what I have, and then you draw a pay.
Right. It looks like if not for that completed Mon shape, it would look like the wall was telling Philip to go for yet another Sohonitsu.
Well, hey, it worked so well last time.
Across the way, actually, that is Two Shanten?
Yeah.
That's well,
Now
now
Ishanten.
Ishanten. I don't. I think you cut the. I would prefer the one pin there. Well, no, I guess this is just Ryame. Never mind. The 8 is
Yeah.
fine.
Oh my goodness,
Each.
these draws. It's a Sanchoku chance again. Richi, Pinfu, Dora. With Sanchoku on the 5 so, the 8 so will also complete the hand. Can Barry strike right back with potential Hanuman?
I feel like we may see it.
There's 4 tiles in the wall. It's quite good.
What's going on with Andrew's hand? It's
相撲
Yasume.
no Sanchoku, but still.
1 Uda away. Hits, of
Yeah,
course.
still Mangan. Really making Philip work for a possible win here.
Yeah, I've been impressed with all the Uda that have been flipped. Recently, of course, I was playing in the Seattle Open, and I hit 0 Uda during the tournament, which is now 2 consecutive tournaments with 0 Uda. And
So
it's
this should just
impressive
be
to me
south.
when I
Home.
see this. Ryan opening up on the south. This is a really pretty hand for Philip, isn't it?
It
Home.
is. It's beautiful, but
本
um,
地
he's cheapening it because he's got to match the speed.
Yeah, it's so sad. You can let the first one pass, I think, because you should have had an advantage with your heads with the early hype, I think. But it's certainly understandable to try and match the speed when you desperately need to win the hand.
The 2 cut is a bit. I think would you have cut that 2 that early?
Oh, for the door acceptance, I do like cutting the 2. I think Philip is trying to hedge Honitsu here. Barry's
That
just
makes
faster.
that makes sense.
地
Yep, 9. You're on 9 Sotanki now, which, well, if Barry draws it, I mean, you get your win.
I'd so better. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, chose to keep
Kang.
the 9 Sotanki over the 5/6 Shabo.
Yeah, the 9 so does look pretty good given that you can see all 3 sevens. And oh, here it comes.
Oh,
Don't.
there it goes. And you got an extra Fedora from the con.
Oh, you're right. That is 2,900. And that will be enough for Philip to take a temporary lead. I say temporary because we do have to go again. A dealer cannot end the game after taking first place in a last. So we will re-roll. That's by not so bad for Philip. I'm just
No,
my eyes
it's
are
pretty
trained
good
on
actually.
the hand on the right. All four. Haku.
本
the loaded up Ancon is, I mean, so whenever you do this here, you're cutting down your the tiles in your hand by 1. So you have to be pretty confident, I think, in your ability to play with an efficiency handicap to do this. Contemplating I think hitting the con right now or giving up on it.
Yeah, I chooses to just play for maximum efficiency. No need to create more Dora when you only need, let's see, the gap is 1,200, so yeah, you only need to win this hand with the home bomb.
So this is Ishan 10 now for Barry. Could Dama if the weight's not good. Itsu chance for Barry actually. Just needs a 2 and a 4. What else is going on? Tanyao, Dora 2 for Andrew. Call and Tenpai on the 6-mon. Ryan's hand is not really together yet.
Yeah, and Andrew's hand will be large enough to overtake Ryan for third. Toy Toy Dora 3? Just draw it yourself?
Oh, I was going to be like, I would take that every time.
Yeah,
It's
it
yeah,
chooses the Tonki.
I think you like. I feel like you have to.
Yeah, I mean
Like, I
it's a
think if you
Hanuman.
don't, the value police are going to come to your house, and they're going to have some questions.
Now switching to 2-mon, that is Suji to the original 5-mon cut. When a player cuts 5-7, you're not really expecting to wait on 2.
No, no.
South would be an excellent wait, but you lose the Hanuman. It's only manga now.
I
1、
don't think I would have taken it, but I can understand why Andrew is itchy to win this hand. The four,
1、
Barry takes his chi absolutely.
Yeah, just deciding whether to wait for Itsu or not.
It, yeah. Hmm.
That was Tempai for Ryan. Did not choose to take it, and that means he's likely to deal in here on the 2-mon.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
ロン、
Yeah, choose the dead weight, and that will be Itsuhaku, I should say, for Barry.
And for Andrew, as Q would say, wrong Tonki.
did select the wrong Tonki. However, it was a very closely contested battle for both first and second, third, and fourth. And we did see Barry come out on top, plus 31.4. Another first place in the bank. Philip, a very strong second, plus 20.3. And Ryan will take a third place here, minus 20.6. Andrew, fourth with negative 31.1. And we'll get to take a
I
look.
don't think I've ever seen somebody in such a dominant position after only 6 games.
I agree.
Actually, well,
There's
there was that one season where Q had a pretty dominant first session that was about plus 200.
yeah, that included a Yakuman though.
It did.
I don't think this one includes a Yakuman, so quite impressive from Barry. And it's 210 after 6 games. Will be hard to catch. I remember Zilong also had quite a strong start to his season last season in the fall, and of course he capitalized by advancing to A1 in that season. So we'll see if Barry can do the same here. I anticipate that he will be able to hold this, but we're only in session 2, so a lot more of the season yet to go. For the other 4 players in this list, Philip finishes these 2 games about where he started, right near the middle, or slightly above the middle of the pack here. Andrew will drop a few points. Ryan as well, down at negative 59.62, right next to each other in the standings. All right, I do apologize again to the viewers. I've not been able to resolve these the frames dropping. I don't know what it's been about this season. Maybe the new update to OBS, maybe the new Firefox update, maybe my computer's just dying. But I have not. I've unfortunately not been able to resolve this. So I think perhaps we shorten this broadcast a little bit and call it here. What do you say, Michael?
Oh, I mean, that's fine by me. Like, I understand that the technical difficulties are, that we want to get that ironed out.
Yeah, it's definitely making things a little bit choppy. Not the best viewing experience, so I'll put some work into fixing that for next time. Of course, we've got lots of broadcasts lined up for the future. We've got some potential commentary by JPML Pro Jen Barr, and we're really looking forward to being able to cast with her. There are
Definitely
a few
stop
days in the
into those
future.
streams.
Yeah, I'm seeing
They'll be fun.
some potential commentary on next Monday, and maybe even tomorrow. We'll see. We're not 100% sure on tomorrow, but I think Monday will be a good potential date for us, or next Tuesday, and as well as our regular Wednesday broadcast coming up soon. And of course, I do want to also mention the other games that have finished recently while we were casting. Looks like in B3 they played all four series of the game, all four games in the series between Tucker, Vinny, TJ, and Eric. In the most recent game, Tucker took the first place there, Vinny with the second, TJ third, and Eric fourth. Although they've been kind of bouncing around in terms of who's taken first place in that series. And an A1 result just completed. Simon, big first place, plus 36.8, the only player above 30,000 points. Jonathan S took the second, Korak the third, and Jonathan F fourth place in that one. But it was very, very tightly contested outside of Simon jumping up to an early lead. And they are continuing their series as we speak. I would love to be able to catch that game, but my computer is not cooperating. So if anyone is in the American Rishi Mahjong League server, we'll try to continue watching those games there. You're certainly welcome to join us there. And if anyone is not yet in the American Rishi Mahjong League, what are you doing? It's a great league. Join us.
Yes, please do. It's a great community. I've really enjoyed my time there, and the discussions we have about strategy are great. We have fun.
Yeah, if you'd like to join, the website is americanreach.org. You can sign up for the upcoming spring season. There's plenty of time to do so. That begins in, I believe, the end of March. So March 11th is the deadline to sign up for that. If you do sign up ahead of time, you may be able to join the league early and act as a substitute player. We are always in need of potential substitutes for when the case arises, and so you get a chance to play a couple games, try out the league, and also gives you access to all of those what would you do channels and strategy discussions and all the Arbol news. So definitely sign up on the website americanreach.org. If you'd like to see future broadcasts, check out our Twitter/X at American Reachy. And if you'd like to see this or any of the other broadcasts we've had for the past 2 years, you can visit our YouTube channel. There's a tiny URL for that, /ARMLYT, or you could just go to @AmericanReachy on YouTube. Thanks, Michael, for hopping in and helping me out with the commentary.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in the next stream.
See ya.